We invite Rabbi Lisa Bellows to begin the sacred funeral ceremony.
It is no surprise that there are so many of us here to say goodbye to Marilyn and also and especially to celebrate her life. For Marilyn's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever, for her companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory, for the gifts of her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give thanks to God. Times like this, we offer the 23rd Psalm as a reminder to the mourners that we are never alone. We'll join together in the English. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And in the book of Ecclesiastes, we read that there's a time to keep silent and a time to speak. I invite the following members of Marilyn's close circle of family and friend. I'll invite them all at the same time, but you'll come up one at a time. First to offer words will be Marilyn's son Murray, then her son Larry, then her grandson Ari, her brother Erwin, her niece Elisa, and her dearest friend Carol Babender. Murray.
I have to move this so that those who are online can actually hear me, for better or worse. First, I want to thank everyone for coming, whether in person or virtual. Hopefully the weather stays this way and we don't get any rain till later. We are here to say goodbye to my mom, Marilyn Sprung, who died 10 days after celebrating her 88th birthday. It would be so easy to focus on her life over the last couple of years since my dad died. Mom never really recovered from that, and while there were moments of joy, there was always a kind of emptiness around her. The biggest joy in her life was her grandkids. I always think that Larry, Rachel, Arlen, and I were tolerated by my parents purely because we brought the joy of Danny, Bobby, Ari, and Hannah. My parents often quoted as saying that if they knew how great it was being a grandparent, they would have done it first. From me to the four of you, thank you for all the joy you brought into her life and into mine. Arlen and I are proud of all of you. Jackie, my mom lit up every time she saw you or mentioned that you and Danny had called. Jackie always said that my mom was her favorite Sprung and that she tolerates Danny just to be part of my mom's family. For the happiness you brought her just by being you, thank you. Know that Arlen and I feel the same way. And my mom felt that same way about her nieces and nephews. They were also like her grandchildren, even though distances sometimes made it harder to be together. Marilyn, Gary, Lisa Howard, Jason, Donna, Lizzie, Dan, Gary and Caroline, Sonia, Cindy. Distances made it hard sometimes, but she was so proud of all of you and beamed whenever you were mentioned. She loved you all so much. But we can't just focus on that aspect of her life. We need to remember the many years that she and my dad square danced their way around the country. The funny dresses she wore that matched my dad's funny belt clips. The large costume jewelry she still owned, unable to throw away because of the memories, but not knowing what to do with it. Need to remember the whitewater rafting trips they took and the numerous adventures around the world with their closest friends, Carol and Don Bamender. Carol and Don had been a part of my life forever and remain so. Arla and I joined a group to go to the North Lake Theater years ago, not so much because we wanted to go see the productions, but because it allowed us a chance to spend time with my parents and some of their close friends. A play and then dinner, memories that I treasure. Carol and Don, I'm looking forward to more memories as we continue our North Lake tradition. Bev, Phyllis, and June, you now have a fourth for Mahjong. We need to remember how she went back to school while raising a family, received a master's degree in special ed, taught for almost 20 years. How many lives did she impact? And there are so many little memories, of course, in so many ways my mom impacted my life without even meaning to. I can truthfully say that I never smoked a cigarette or a joint because of her. Not because of her moral teachings or threats. I remember coming home from grammar school, my mom wanted to give me a welcome home kiss, but she had smoked a cigarette and had onions for lunch, and I forcefully pushed her away because I didn't like the smell of either, and I still don't. It's funny how many little things shape our lives in important ways that were never intended. And no, I did not forget my aunts and uncles. The Weiss clan, and yes, Jason, my mother's maiden name is Weiss, has always been very close. I remember fishing once with my Uncle Izzy and putting a fish hook through his finger, which is probably why I only remember it once. I remember falling asleep when he married my wonderful Aunt Kathy. My dad on a couch with me and Larry next to him. It's one of the favorite pictures that float around all the time. Sally and Ralph were a constant in my life, and Sally was my first mother. Since when I was born, Mom had chicken pox and they kicked her out of the hospital, and I couldn't see her for 10 days. I also heard her cried a lot in those first 10 days. Merle, who babysat me way back when, and Diane, who'd been so much a part of our lives and constantly brought my mom joy. I don't remember a time that any of you were not there. And with Sally and Ralph living so close, and my dad and Ralph being partners in the auto parts store, they were together constantly. I take some comfort in knowing that they are all together again. And finally, Arla, who, excuse me, who for 45 years treated my mom as her mother as well. She worried with me, mourned with me, and celebrated with me. She talked to my mom every day, watched out for her, and treated her as her own. Our Sunday tradition of walking the Botanic Gardens or Northbrook Court and then having breakfast is another treasured memory and continued until the end. My mom may not have been able to walk with us, but Sunday breakfast stayed the same. The last 2 years have been difficult in so many ways. Larry and Rachel were always there, as was Elisa. When the time came, Mom was ready and at peace with herself. She's in a better place now with her beloved Aaron. And I already miss her.
I guess I'll adjust this a little bit too. Thanks. Tough act to follow. My mom has always been a solid fixture in my life. A rock, actually part of a pair of boulders, which were my parents. Aaron and Marilyn, Abba and Ima, Bubby and Zadie to the kids. She was always there to support, to comfort. She'd say, "Tell me, my baby." No matter what the circumstances, always listening, always supportive, always wanting you to be good and have no discomfort. She'd always say, "Know that you are loved." That love extended beyond just me, of course. She welcomed everybody who ventured into our family. My sister-in-law Arla, my wife Rachel, various in-laws, and even their families. All were welcome, all were included. Nothing compared to her love of her grandkids, and they returned it in kind. Each had his or her unique relationships with her. With that caring came her worrying. She always wanted to make sure we were home safely. When traveling back to Milwaukee, there was always a required phone call to say we were back home, even if that meant waking her up. For then she'd say, "Good, now I can sleep better." Especially worrisome for her was the snow. Ever since she got stranded in a spring blizzard 50 years ago, it has always been, for plans to be snow dependent. God forbid there was potential for a flake. In winter, she hesitated to make any commitments. As time moved on, she wanted us all to take things more easy. She didn't like how hard or long any of us worked, but she enjoyed all our time together. Rachel and I became part of Sunday breakfast or dinner in the last several years. Ari joined in, and Hannah did too when she was in town. At some point during these get-togethers, my mom decided we should go back home before it became too late. Definitely around 6:30 if it was late afternoon dinner. Rory and I called it her turning into a pumpkin. This at some point became her saying goodbye, 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 complete with shooing hand gestures. She wanted to rest, watch her Korean soap operas, which is a different story, and I suspect not worry for us making it home in time. Well, now she gets her rest and will be with her beloved Aaron. We got to say our goodbyes to her the other day, but her spirit of kindness, caring, and love remain, and I, for one, still know that I am loved.
As difficult as this pandemic has been for everyone, over the past 18 months, I truly feel privileged for having the opportunity to spend extended time with Bubby, as I was able to work remotely. Regardless of her health, she always made me feel loved, and the only thing that mattered to her was my happiness. We spent countless hours together, talking, playing Rummy Cube or Gin, cooking breakfast or dinner together, and yes, I even managed to get some work done. And even occasionally we were able to go swimming or go for a walk when it allowed. As a bonus, naturally, I was able to get my feet rubbed consistently. Going up to see her during the week and having Sunday brunch as a family became highlights of my week. While I will always cherish the time I had with her, the only regret is that I did not get to spend more. She could always put a smile on all of our faces. I could see her face always light up whenever she would talk about Zadie, including hearing numerous stories of their dating life, various stories of my Uncle Murray and my dad as kids, and talking about Bobby, Danny, Hannah, and myself growing up and how proud she is of all of us. The central theme of all her stories surrounded her love of our family and Zadie, her Aaron, who was a truly special man and the love of her life. I know they will be square dancing together soon, if not already, and they're looking down upon us all. Reminiscing about Bubby, the memories truly come floating back to me. Passover Seders, Rosh Hashanah, her amazing meatballs and coleslaw, our family Israel trip, helping with art projects as kids, and all the sporting events and milestones that she and Zadie came to see. Even though she had a difficult time walking, she couldn't miss our college graduations. She was even willing to get on a plane, despite all of her concerns about flying, to celebrate Hannah's graduation in 2019 from GW. She was so proud of all of her grandkids, consistently talking about Danny's wedding, how excited she was for Bobby's new place. She's been there for us all and continuously supported all of our dreams. To Bobby, family was always first. Anything that made each of us happy brought her joy. Bobby has been one of the most important people in my life for as long as I can remember, and I'll miss her greatly. The last few months have been extremely challenging, and I wish nothing more than to be able to have one last conversation. But she's reunited with Zadie now, and finally at peace. I love you, Bobby, forever and always.
Ari, that was beautifully given. I want to carry you back 75 years. Marilyn and I were about 6 years apart. 75 years ago, I remember the coal trucks coming and dumping coal on the street and the wheelbarrows, putting them in the boiler for the radiators. And I remember going upstairs and putting a nickel into the telephone to get a phone call. It goes back. My father left at 5 o'clock in the morning to take the streetcar to work, came home tired, and on Sunday, he was exhausted. My mother worked during the afternoon. Merle and I were like latchkey kids. We came home alone, and we waited for Marilyn to take care of us. As a teenager, she was an adult. She was already an adult. When puberty came for me, I didn't know what was happening to my body or my brain or anything. Who could I talk to? It was Marilyn, the only one I could trust. The only one I could trust. When she was 21, I was 15, she got married, and I remember joyfully getting drunk. It was my first time. It was my first. 1 week ago, I called her. I said, Mare, Merle just said she had COVID. And I said, how are you? He said, Izzy, I'm fine. So we talked and joked for a while. And I said, how is it possible that my sister would marry a Yiddish truck driver who delivers kosher chickens to Chinese restaurants and ends up with a happy marriage? And she said, Izzy, I had a wonderful marriage. Anyways, we ended the conversation, and she said, Izzy, I love you. And that was the last that I heard from her. That was the last time we talked. So now I am speaking to my dear sister, Marilyn. For all of us here, we love you.
Just push it down. Thanks. Okay. I'll keep this short. You've heard about the wonderful mother, grandmother, wife. Let me say for a moment about the wonderful sister she was to my sister and sister-in-law, to my parents. Never failed them at any point in their lives. She was always there to the very end. She was the one you could count on to spend hours beside their bedside or wherever they were needed. She was needed. She was there. I had the privilege of knowing Marilyn my entire life. My earliest memories of life involved Marilyn. In fact, my very earliest memory was sneaking into my mother's closet to peek at the flower girl dress that I was going to wear to Marilyn's wedding. Pink dotted Swiss, I remember it. And I have another memory that kind of stands out. Marilyn was babysitting for me, and she said to me, "You're such a homely child." And I thought, oh, that's such a nice word. It seems so cozy. And, so I felt good about that until I got home and asked somebody what that meant. And so in later years, Marilyn denies that she said it, but she said it. And I got even many years later when I gave her chicken pox that kicked her out of the hospital when she delivered Murray. Sorry, Marilyn, I was probably a little bit overkill there, but Marilyn was involved. She was part of the fabric of our lives, the small moments, the big moments, every tradition, every event, every Jewish holiday. She taught us how to live. She and Aaron had so many adventures together. They explored so many things. She was intellectually curious, so intelligent, so wise. And she also showed us how to age. She, no matter how she was feeling, it was always, how are you? How are the kids? How are the babies? Always about other people. She didn't let age stop her. When she couldn't fly, she drove. They drove together. When she couldn't walk, she used the cane. When she couldn't breathe without oxygen, she strapped on the tank and she went. Marilyn just was a dear aunt, and I speak on behalf of my sister and Gary as well, who unfortunately are home with COVID, that she was so easy to love. She was irresistible. It's very sad to think of a world without Marilyn, and it would be wonderful to imagine a world where just a little bit of Marilyn is in all of us, because she was so special, and we love her so much. Thank you.
I think I'm here because I represent the friends. Those of you who couldn't make it here today, and I know you're watching. So I remember Marilyn, and I will always. We became friends when we were each 12 years old. I always called Marilyn my younger friend because she was 3 months younger than I was. Marilyn typified the very good friend, the very good listener, and she always did not want to talk about herself. We talked about other things as well. I cannot imagine, and neither can Arlene, Marilyn, and one more that's escaping my mind, Lee. And we each cannot and will never forget Marilyn and treasure what she was. She was a beautiful person. And everyone, whether you were an acquaintance, a friend, or you just met her, you just said, gee, this is a good neshama. And that's what she was. And she'll always be in our hearts.
A woman of valor who can find her children, rise up and bless her. The next prayer that we offer is El Malei Rachamim, a prayer that asks God to receive Marilyn with great love and tenderness, the unconditional love, inclusivity, caring, and compassion she gave to us. If you're able and you do not get extra points to stand, so if you're okay in the chair, please sit, and for those who are able at this moment, please rise. El Malei Rachamim Shochen Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina Im Kedoshim Utorim Kizohar Haraki HaMazhirim Et Nishmat Malka Gittel Bat David Shalcha Le'olama Al harachamim yastireha b'seiter kenefav le'olamim veitzur b'itzur hachayim et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Marilyn Jane Sprung, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings. Let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. Together we say, Amen. The mourner's Kaddish is on the back of the leaflet. We join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. V'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. V'agala uvizman kariv imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mivorach leolam olomei omaya. Yitparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort all of us who are bereaved. And together we say, Amen. Can be seated. And family who are wearing the Kriya ribbon will offer the ritual that we really need no reminder of, the brokenness of our heart. If you're wearing the ribbon, please repeat the prayer over Kriya after me, and then David will come, or you can tear slightly the ribbon from the bottom up. David is here. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, God, judge of truth, who is with us in times of joy and also in times of challenge. And in just a moment, we'll have the opportunity to fulfill one of the greatest mitzvot, commandments, the commandment to bury our own loved one. We do this with unconditional love for Marilyn, the unconditional love she gave us. A reminder. Tradition is to take 3 shovels of earth, 3 because it's the number or name of intention. If you choose to do the mitzvah, please, after you take the shovel, return it back to the earth so the next person can take with intention as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shiva will continue at the Continental Restaurant and Banquets at 788 South Buffalo Grove Road in Buffalo Grove. The family will be there from 3 to 8 p.m. today. Tomorrow, Shiva will continue in Wisconsin at the Sprung residence, the 7706 North Port Washington Road. We'll use the clubhouse room, and that's in Fox Point, Wisconsin. That'll be from 5 to 8. So for those of you who are going to be in Wisconsin, we'll be at their home 5 to 8. Memorial contributions to Congregation Beth Am Food Pantry or the Skokie Lions Club would be appreciated. For those of you who are here, that information is on the service folder. For those of you who are online, you can find the Shiva information as far as Continental or the Sprung residence and all the charity information on the website. At this time, we're going to invite the family members to come first to place some earth. We have it over here, and then you can continue. Keep in mind it is warm outside, so if you want to watch or witness a complete burial, or if you just need to get some air conditioning in your car, you could go and come back. At this time, we invite the family to come forward. want an organ. Everybody. That was like a great. No, something about a horn, right?
Today he doesn't. Most days he does. Bobby,
Very special. Once you place earth there, just step away so the next group of people can come. Folks, please come forward. Everyone else that wants to participate.
I had a front orange. Oh, I'm in front of the camera. I'm in front of the camera.
Sure, just kind of step to the side there, the camera. Folks, for those of you who wish to come forward, it is warm outside, so we're going to do this. And then we're going to cover the grave. Can I hold the purse for you? If people want to use a shovel, they can use a shovel. There'll be a shovel on either side. Can I hold that for you? Do you want me to hold that for you? I'm stepping over. Ladies and gentlemen, once everyone has an opportunity to place earth into the grave, we are going to cover the grave. For those of you who wish to witness that, please remain, otherwise you may return to your cars.
I didn't recognize the last time it's
Yeah. He had the operation. He had the operation.
Thank you anyways.
Whose purse is this? I know I took it from someone.
Yeah.
Just don't fall in. Hold your purse for you. If you fall in, and I held your purse up. I don't help you if I help you. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment, we're going to close the grave. If you've not taken a moment to sign the registry, it's right over here. If you do not wish to watch the container, please return to your car. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to form a shura, a double aisleway, and Marilyn's two sons and her brother will walk through. If I can ask everyone to come to the road, we're going to do an aisleway as a gentleman from the cemetery close the grave. So ladies and gentlemen, please come over here. Some people over here. And some people over here. You're going to face, on this side, you're going to face these people, and these people are going to face these people. If I could have Murray, Larry, and Isaac over here, please. Erwin, sorry. Folks, if you'll make an aisleway here. No, you're going to stand over here. Just the three of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, on the back of the service folder, you'll find the traditional words of consolation, but just a little history from where this comes from. If anybody's been to Israel, on the southern entrance by the wall, the Kotel, around by the Davidson Center, you'll see the stairs are uneven. And why are they uneven? Because when Herod built the second temple, he didn't want people to run fast after the Shalosh Regalim, the three festivals, or Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. So the stairs were actually uneven. And there was an exit. However, it was an entrance for a certain group of people. And some of the people were mourners. And how did they know they were mourners? Their clothes were torn. And the words are tachlis. Some could say Hamakom is God, but you know, the truth is it's the place. And this is the place where you're comforted with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. So as the family walks through, it's at this time you may offer words of consolation from your heart, or the traditional words as you walk through. Go ahead. You say, Hamakom yirachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. You should be comforted with all the mourners of Zion, Jerusalem, and Arlington Heights. Ladies and gentlemen, you may return to your cars after the family walks through.
Flying, sorry.
And Arla, I'm still running this so they can watch it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may return to your cars because the cars cannot leave until the first group of cars go. At this time, we are going to turn off the live stream. We thank you for attending the service through the electronic blessings.